Hello, hello. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, and I'm doing a special Travel Tuesday update with you. I'm doing a special Travel Tuesday update with you. Who am I? I'm Dr. Triffy. You know me if you've been following me. I am a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. I teach people how to think better so they can feel better and do better. All right. I'm also the host of Transforming Trauma podcast, and I have added a few special days, including today and Wednesdays. Wednesday, I will be talking about books of light, books that have changed my life for the better. Books that have changed my life for the better. But before we do that, today, when you come on here, I want you to listen all the way through. Because you might never eat burgers and fries and tacos again when you finish hearing what I'm sharing with you today. I want you to also like and follow and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. It's called Transforming Trauma. And I want you to do that because I drop free tips on how to create the life you want using powerful psychological and psycho-spiritual strategies that have worked, that are evidence-based, and also many of them are time-tested and proven. Okay, y'all. So, like I said, today's topic is my travel therapy Fort Lauderdale review. I like to come on and do my top 5. I say top 5, and I've decided to do top 5 with you because my fiance, Campy, and I, we traveled a lot, and he died in December. And part of my healing, surviving grief plan has been about traveling and moving myself out of my comfort zone to help myself heal faster. And he was a top 5% kind of guy. Top 5% restaurant, jewelry, shoes, art, all of it. So I decided to focus on the top 5 myself on my trips. So I'm diving in right away. My top 5 for my Fort Lauderdale trip, which was about a week and a half ago, about 2 weeks ago. Is it all that? About a week ago. My top 5, I'll start with this one. Being alone isn't all bad. Being alone can suck, but it's really not all bad. And I found myself thinking about that because I rented a vehicle, of course. I rented a little SUV and just had the freedom to pick up and go when I wanted to go. I didn't have to consult. I didn't have to ask, hey, what do you think? There's a freedom in that. I could sleep whenever I wanted to sleep, change my mind. But overall, though, I prefer it. I prefer traveling with someone. It just feels better. I really enjoy traveling with Campy. So there is a positive in the sense that you don't have to check in with anybody. You don't want to go over there, but they really want to go over there. And you can just pick up and go. It might seem kind of weird when you think about, hey, solo travel, but and especially for a woman traveling alone, I do my best to stay in groups. I will book a tour with a large number of people and families versus just going out to places alone. So that helps me get rid of any anxiety I have about being alone. Okay? All right. So my number 2, as far as lessons, top 5 experiences, insights, my number 2 is I feel so grateful uh, for my sound healing certification. I feel very grateful. We had a fabulous teacher. Um, we worked with Bill Sullivan, and the group was amazing. So it's a beautiful thing to be in a group of people with like minds, and you're there for a common purpose, and all of you vibing at a certain level. And you want, like, ding 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 ding, you want to go higher, you want to do better, you want to share yourself with the world. So that felt really good. And I have a particular mention of my Dominicana chica sister, Martha Reyes. She's from the Dominican Republic, and I'm from Dominica. And we like to tell people, hey, we are two separate countries, okay? Dominica is further south, and we speak English and the French Creole, and they speak Spanish. And they are really part of a bigger island, okay? We are further south. We are between Guadeloupe and Martinique, okay? Now, y'all keep listening, because when I share, I think it's my number 4, but I'm almost wanting to put it as like my biggest one, right? You might not want to eat burgers and fries and tacos again, okay? So, number 3, my third experience that was really powerful for me was learning about the power of cacao ceremony. Now, I grew up in Dominica, like I said, and we had cacao plants in our yard. My mom would would break open the pods and open the seeds. As kids, you would suck on the pulp of the cacao, and your parents would roast them, really, in pots and put them out. Before they roasted them, though, they would put them in the sun to dry, and you roast them in the pots. We'd sit together as a family and peel the skin off of the pods, and then we'd put it into a big mortar with a pestle. So a mortar is, it's kind of shaped like this, a big thing. It's a big wooden container, and there's a stick to pound. And so you pound the cacao seeds down, pound. As you're pounding, it releases this kind of grease and oil, and you can just pull the little pieces. You can separate them, and now we would roll them into cacao sticks. Now, if you're familiar with ayahuasca is plant medicine that's being used now. There's a lot of research on plant medicine being valuable for people with addictions, mental health issues. So I learned in the group about a cacao ceremony where, similar to how you use ayahuasca, you can use cacao. So I thought I would do a little research myself and see what that's about. Because, I know how much I love cocoa tea. We call it cocoa tea or cacao tea in Dominica. But, on a Sunday morning, cocoa tea is an almost must. It's almost like a tradition in Dominica. And, we drink the tea like hot chocolate tea with a little cinnamon, and some of us like coconut milk in our cacao tea. So I thought I'm going to look up a cacao ceremony to see what it's about. So for those of you who didn't know, what is a cacao ceremony? And I'm reading it straight off of my computer. And the website I'm reading it from is called Breakfast Criminals. So what is a cacao ceremony? Cacao preparation, rituals, physical and metaphysical benefits. So when you hear metaphysical, think about spiritual benefits, okay? I never knew cacao had spiritual benefits. Okay, so this person says that cacao, ceremonial cacao, is their favorite daily ritual that helps them nourish both their physical and energetic body. And their first cacao ceremony they experienced in Bali. You know, Bali is in the Pacific. Hi, Petra. Yeah, Maya, how are you? Heavy said, say cacao, okay? Because we say cacao in Dominica, y'all, not cacao. So this person said the first time they experienced a cacao ceremony was at a place called the Yoga Barn in Bali. And it made her feel so free and blissful in her body. She wondered if there was anything else added to that cacao potion that might have contributed to what to her felt like an altered state. I guess we've been experiencing this altered, happy, joyful state for all of our lives every Sunday morning and every cold morning or every morning before we left to go to school. We had a little warm chest, is what they called it. They wanted us to put a little hot cacao on the chest. So this writer says that when sourced thoughtfully, prepared ceremonially, and enjoyed with intention, cacao is a potent, energetic medicine that exists on a different plane than your regular chocolate. And it is different. Cacao is different than hot chocolate. Completely different. So as the ancient traditions of ceremonial cacao are becoming popular now in the urban jungle. You know, we're all looking for ways to feel more connected and to elevate ourselves spiritually. More questions, of course, are coming up about cacao. So this person says they're going to detail onto how to make cacao. And I just described how to make cacao. You know, we grow the pods in our yards. We grow the trees in our yards. We actually had a phrase for the area that we grew the cocoa, and we said abacacola, meaning under the cacao. Okay? And you break open the pod of the cacao. I'm going to call it cacao because that's what we call it. Cacao, it's orange when it's ripe and ready. You open it, the pods are white. Again, kids, you can suck on the cacao seeds and you put it out in the sun to dry. We dry it out there. And once it's dried, put it on a back home. Back in the day, we used a coal pot. So you'd have wooden coals in a little brick coal pot or cement coal pot that your father might have made or your brother might have made. And essentially, it's kind of like stewing, but it's not stewing. It's like roasting the cocoa pods. Yeah. And once it's like that, the skin would slip off of the pods. You put that in your mortar and you use a pestle stick, pound it, and then just roll your cacao sticks. Some people actually roll them into balls. And they actually ship them from Dominica everywhere because it is such a staple of our diet. So, cacao on a metaphysical level, this writer talks about the spiritual benefits of cacao. Cacao has been used for at least 5,000 years by a number of communities around the world on a metaphysical level, on a spiritual level. It serves as a tool for connecting to the energetic space of your heart. So that love vibration, that unconditional love for people, that feeling good state in your heart, as well as to people around you. The writer says that they love making a cup of cacao before meditation or during group gatherings because it's a powerful tool to go deeper in your inner work, whether it's journaling, visualization, or shamanic journeying. So those cultures where they are actual, they call themselves shamans. They are shamans. They are healers. In In Dominica, we call them the bush doctor, right? And there are levels that are not as intense as a bush doctor, where you have people who just know how to use the land and use the plants on the land to heal. The shamans in many cultures, like the native cultures and South American cultures, would use kako for journeying, meditation, deep meditation. The writer also says that it can help in healing, energetic healing. You know, we're not just physical, we have several bodies, so to speak. It's another class, okay? We have several bodies, we're not just physical, all right? And it helps in receiving clarity in the areas of love, purpose, intuitive abilities. Intuitive abilities are like your ability to see and know. In the Caribbean, in Dominica, we have people we call gade. A gade is a healer, a shaman, a person who can see beyond the physical, okay? And kako can also be used for working on projects that ignite your soul, making art, career, and personal growth. Who knew? Who knew? Some traditions, including the indigenous kako keepers, believe that every plant, whether it's psychedelic or not, has a spirit. And in the earlier days, human beings, of course, lived in nature in harmony, like we were one. We depended on the plants, and honored the plants because the plants is where you got your food. And they saw plants as intelligent, alive beings and healers in their own right. A lot of us are familiar with the mezemawi. The mezemawi plant in Dominica is a sensitive plant. When you touch it, it's like, don't touch me, and it just shrivels up. There are some of the bell plants, the flowers that look like a bell, they'll just close up around you if you try to touch them. So these, on a simplest level, kako is essentially a supplement. Okay? It's essentially a supplement, a superfood, what's called an adaptogen, as a way, and it's used as a way to reconnect us to the deep wisdom we know. And many of us, I think, in a way, forget, or we've picked it up that it's wrong, to have that kind of deep understanding of nature and of life and of ourselves. So, look, in case you didn't know, kako, you've been feeling it and you've been sensing it every Sunday morning. That's why you will stay in Alaska and tell your people, please bring up my kako for me. If a Dominican goes home and does not come back with cacao, you say that person doesn't care about you. Where's my kako? Okay. So yeah, I never knew that. And I know about ayahuasca. I'll do a teaching one day on ayahuasca and the benefits of it. But I never realized that kako was so beneficial. So now you know. My kitchen is full of kako. Okay? Now, my fourth observation, my fourth experience that was really impactful for me was the ride up Port Everglades. Now, the ride started like in the middle of the city, essentially. And Fort Lauderdale, to me, is so beautiful. It reminds me of Venice. And it's like all of this water, but all of these buildings on the water. And the boat ride started on a boat with tons of other people. Again, for me, I'm choosing a group where I feel safe and there's a tour guide and I know I'm not going to be lost in the bush by myself, okay? They narrate and describe everything as you're going up What looks like a canal, looks like a river, wide open spaces, just beautiful. And to me, the most impactful, so many beautiful homes, so many beautiful homes. And that's going to segue into my reason I think you might think twice before you eat another burger, a fry, or a taco. So beautiful. I mean, the houses are mansions, essentially. Every house is a mansion. Like every house is a mansion. So I'm going to wait to tell you why that one here, number 4, was so impactful to me and why you might want to think twice about eating burgers and fries and tacos. I'm going to go to my biggest and most important realization. I think the reason that travel has become like so important to me and why it's really working for me, y'all. Each trip I go and I come back, I feel a little better. I feel a little better. I feel a little better. I pick something else up new. And of course the pain is there. I'm a human being. Of course the pain is there. Like last night was ridiculously painful. In the middle of the night, I am, having a meltdown. But that's just how grief does its thing. It comes in waves. But in general, I'm feeling a lot better. A lot better. I think what travel is doing is it's helping me connect to the 5 elements of nature. The 5 elements of nature. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Elements. Okay, so it is said, and many healing practices are based in that foundation, that nature is made up of these 5 elements here. There's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Okay, it's 5 elements. So think about it. When I board a plane, what would you guess is the element I'm working with? When I board a plane, type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. What element am I working with when I board a plane? When I land on the ground and I go walking, like say through the flamingo gardens that I went to, what element am I working with as I'm walking the earth? Type it in the chat. What's your guess? When I sit in the sun on the beach and just lie down for an hour, 2 hours, and I walk around in the sun, what element am I working with? As I walk through the path, the foresty areas, that little butterfly garden that I went to, what element was I working with? And again, the sea. What element am I working with? Do you see metal? Do you see earth? Do you see fire? Do you see wood? Do you see water? 5 elements of nature, of life. And imagine after grief that is so profound and intense, or a life event that just boom, rocks your world, you're completely destabilized emotionally, completely off your footing. I don't care who you are, you're a human being, okay? And so reconnecting to yourself on the earth as a full, bodied person, if you can reconnect by focusing on these 5 elements, earth, water, metal, fire, wood, you help yourself on purpose. You help yourself intentionally reset. You help yourself intentionally reset. Now, intuitively, the travel has been doing this for me. So when I went to Jamaica, the big thing for me was water. And actually, water is often identified as perhaps the strongest of the elements. I mean, I was jumping in the river, I was swimming, I was going down the river, I was we actually had to stand like almost like chest deep in the water to swim with the dolphins, and you had to go out there. And it was swimming with the dolphins, really, that was where I felt like my footing, my piéton. Piéton in Dominica Creole is your footing, your balance. That's where I felt my balance come back in my body, because I was walking around shekelek. Shekelek is shaky and off balance, after the trauma, after the traumatic event. And the water helped to stabilize me. I swear, when I was at the waterfall, which was so powerful, I went to several waterfalls, Dunn's River Falls, and there was the Blue Hole. Man, that power of that water was so amazing. Like, so amazing. I swear I heard La Sirène Leo. What's La Sirène? La Sirène is mommy water. Yeah? I swear it was just awesome and amazing. Like, the power of the water was like just pulling stuff out of me that I don't think my body would have been able to experience any other way. So I feel very grateful. I feel very grateful for travel. And I'm happy, to have that realization and the understanding that these 5 elements of nature, of life, of being grounded, of being, making your way through life, feeling steady and whole and balanced, that I've been tapping into those 5 elements. So that's perhaps the secret of travel, because you must, if you don't board a plane, you got to board a boat. If you don't board a boat, you got to get in a vehicle. You got to touch some metal. Okay? You got to hit the ground. Hopefully, when you go somewhere, you go exploring, connect with the earth. I talk about earthing, which is deliberately removing your shoes and standing in sand, on green grass, on the soil, so you can connect to the earth. And fire, that sun, 15 minutes in the sunlight, 15 minutes in the sunlight. I think each of us every day should make an effort to get some sunlight every day. Wood and the trees. Today I took a nice walk through the lake, around the lake, close to home, which gave me an opportunity to experience all of these 5 elements. So that's another reason why nature is just so powerful. You get in your car, on your bicycle, on your bike, whatever it is, and you take a walk around the lake. You sit by the lake. You feel the water. And I'm trying to preach the power of intention here, because intention changes many things. So if you just go kind of haphazardly, I think your experience is going to be different than if you go and you're like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going there for this reason. I'm going there to reset. I'm going there to recollect myself. I'm going there to intentionally release my stress, allow the water to do what it's got to do. Okay? So now, all right. Let me tell you why you might want to think twice before you buy your next burger, and your next fry. I'm going to have to think twice before I buy my next taco. As we were going up the Port Everglades, and the tour guide kept describing whose house and whose mansion was here and whose domicile was there, and this is the White House and this is the that house. It came to my attention that most of the burger makers, I can't call any names, I'm not going to call any names, most of the burger makers of the world and the fries makers, many fries makers, burger makers, and taco makers have their mansions on the water in Fort Lauderdale. So my little $1.99, if I'm a once a day fry eater or burger eater or taco eater or whatever else eater, is going to fund mansions on the lake in Fort Lauderdale. And if you've been there, you know the size of the mansions. So we are eating a lot of burgers and a lot of fries and a lot of tacos and a lot of meats and other things. You should see the mansions on the lake, man. I have a couple pictures that I thought I'm going to try to see if I can share them with you. So I'm going to try and see if I can let you see some of these mansions. Oh, okay. Yeah, you want me to see the mansions today. You won't be able to see the mansions today because I didn't upload the mansions today. I was being kind. I was being kind. This one right here, I don't know if you can see it yet. Yeah. You won't be able to see it. I'm going to set you all up. I'm going to share pictures of some of those mansions. Those boogery Friday mansions. So you can see where your little dollar's going. Meanwhile, we're struggling to pay our rent. So anyway, that was my little piece of like my dark side showing. My dark side was like, huh? That's where my little dollar's going? But anyway, let me breathe that into the water. Breathe that into the water and just express again. I think my biggest insight is that travel allows me to connect and allows us to connect to those 5 elements in nature that are so powerful and so healing and can bring us to restoration. So my encouragement to you is if you're going through a hard time, look, you had a hard day at work, things at home are really stressful with your spouse, with your mate, your kids are acting in ways you would prefer they're not acting. You know, you've got a bad diagnosis, stuff is just not feeling good. Find somewhere in your environment, and again, it could be a lake like I did today, that incorporates all of these 5 elements, and do that on purpose. Do that on purpose. It is especially powerful to take yourself down to the water. Down to the water. Yeah. Another thing to think about is with water, you have the cleansing power of the water, right? But you also have the sound. You also have the sound, and sound in and of itself is also healing. So you hear the waves crashing against the shore. Why do you think there's relaxation music that's just the crashing of waves? Okay? Just the crashing of waves. And you're lying down there in the sunlight. There's a lot of power to that. And perhaps, you know, we talk about longevity, we talk about the centenarian lifestyle in a place like Dominica, my home. where we have right now and have for a long time had the highest number of centenarians per capita in the Western world. We're either number one or number two. We're between number one and number two. Highest number of people who live to be 100 years old per capita on this side of the world. Now, what does that mean? That means a place like Dominica is a blue zone. You know what the blue zone is? The blue zones are pockets of the world where people live to be so old. Well, people live so long. People live so long. And many of our elders, they live long and they're also still healthy. They're still gardening. They're still walking down the hill. They're still in their yards piddling. And I think a lot of this connection to all of this natural healing vibration on an island like Dominica, on an island that's surrounded by seawater, where primarily we did, I'm not sure if we're still doing it, you ate fish. You ate fish and you might have meat. You ate fish and you might have meat. If you didn't have enough money for meat, you made veggie soup, pumpkins, and kalaloo. Kalaloo is our national dish. Kalaloo is really just the heart of like dasheen leaves and spinach, dark greens. So it's important to expose yourself on purpose to natural healing opportunities. Natural healing opportunities. Like this thing right here is very seductive, and it can keep us lying flat down on our backs or on our bellies. Me too. If it's not that, it's this. So we're very connected to our metal these days. We're very connected to our metal, but we have to remember to balance ourselves naturally. We have to remember to balance ourselves naturally. And there are many ways to do that. And I think travel forces us to do it because you get out of your comfort zone. You get out of your comfort zone. And I'm going to say again, you might not be able to pick up and go to Fort Lauderdale, but you might be able to pick up and get in your car and on the way home from work, stop by the sea, stop by the river, stop by a lake, stop by a pond, stop by a little ravine. Yeah, on purpose. On purpose. Okay? One more thing. Let me look at some of your comments. Petra, good evening to you. Lavonda, you said cacao. Yes, we snack on the beans raw before the cacao ceremony. Lavonda, I have never experienced a cacao ceremony. And a lot of the people at the training were so excited about it, like really had very positive things to say about it. And I'm like, well, I've been drinking cacao my entire life, and my kitchen is full of cacao sticks. So that's something I'm going to explore and learn more, because again, intention, because here we are, where the way we prepare our cacao, or at least the way I saw my mom prepare her cacao, is with a lot of love and with the intention to love her family with the cacao tea. And seriously, like when my mom makes a cacao, you can feel it in the tea. You can, I feel it now. And she had her way. Everybody's, you grow up with your family having their own traditions of the way they prepare their cacao. We used a lot of cinnamon. My mom would put coconut milk. Sometimes she would put a little bit of flour to thicken it, just a light touch of flour to thicken it. And man, it's the best thing. It would be so good. You'd be chomping on the little bits of cacao at the bottom of the cup, you know? Hola, mamita. Marta, ¿cómo estás, mami? I talked about you, Martha. So Martha Reyes is from the Dominican Republic, and she was in the sound healing training with me. And Martha, I was telling them that uh, we like to say, and we tease each other that which Dominica is it, Dominican Republic or Dominica? So Martha is from Dominican Republic, which is up north, and she speaks Spanish. And I am from Dominica, La Dominique. Yeah, so it's French and more French. We speak a French Creole as well. But the cultures are just really very similar anyway. It's just that there's a lot of confusion with the post office. There's a lot of confusion, I think, with many people who, when people are in a hurry, they won't tell you where you're from. So you have to spend a little more time telling them, well, yes, not that one. We love them, but we're further south. That's right, chica. Hola, ¿cómo estás, mami? Hi, Simone. Yes, we papa, Simone. That's right. That's right. That's right. Heavis, the Kako, man. Right now, I think they ship it. There are tons of people, or at least a few people who make the Kako, and they prepare these lovely boxes and ship it from Dominica as a gift packet. Because let me tell you, I am serious when I say, if you go down to Dominica and you do not come back up with Kako, many people ask you if you have a problem. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I need my Kako. So one more thing before I wrap up for tonight. Today on my walk, I saw a few animals. Well, today I saw one that, it was important to me. And in Florida, there were a few that stood out to me. Now, I say that because Native American medicine pays a lot of attention to animal totems and the spirit of the animal. What might an animal have showed up to tell you or teach you? So today's animal that showed up for me was a snake. No, I don't like snakes, just because I just can't. But I thought that I would look up what that meant. Okay, so animal medicine. I'm typing in the computer animal medicine snake meaning, and I'm going to see what I get. Okay. So the question is, what does the snake spirit animal totem mean? Martha said, shedding your skin. So in animal medicine, you look at it's really very connected to the main characteristics of the animal, like the archetype. What are they about? Snakes are about shedding skin. Snakes are also very, according to this write-up that I'm reading to you from, it says the snake is a symbol of power. The snake is a symbol of power. The snake totem is the medicine of medicine itself. Her lessons are a private journey into releasing the personal and opening up to the universal. This writer says life is to be lived, and it requires a body to do so. And the way that the animal sheds its skin reminds us that we are not, those little pieces of life, those little, you know, we can get caught up in the what we see in front of us. We can get caught up in what we see in front of us. And we have to be willing to shed the old. Snake medicine speaks of transcending personal pain. Is that talking to me? Gaining a sense of security in the midst of instability, and learning how to renew without having to replace. Ooh. Learning how to renew without having to replace. So allowing things to be, being complete, feeling complete, being okay with life as it is. The teachings of this animal urge us not to give up on, and not to throw out that which may still be useful. When snake medicine glides into your life, it is time to release, slough off, shed off, like Martha says, shed off the old patterns so that the new design can pulse, can beat with the most current, updated energy. It is time to listen to your body's discomfort and locate the real dead cells to emerge improved and renewed with its original design intact. Original design, think about it as God's divine plan for you, like life's design for you, your divine plan, which can again be covered up, layered up by trauma, layered up by experiences that didn't feel good, layered up by thought forms. What are thought forms? Like belief systems. In psychology, we call those negative schemas, like old belief systems that might harden, and you kind of take those on as if that's yours, but it's really not yours, because we come into life with a divine plan, where we already know, but we can forget. Okay, we can forget. The writer says this molting process, when applied to healing, can range from mildly irritating to debilitating contractions of violent pain, depending on the lessons being presented. Ooh, how is that like my life, yo? And so what do we do with the pain? How can we end the pain? Snake says, don't run from it. Snakes, but I want to run. My instinctive response is to run from it. I've had people in my life tell me I like to run under the bed. I like to hide under stress. I'll escape. It's my childhood way of dealing with stress. And all of us have a style with which we respond to stress more often than not. And to grow up means we have to learn a more efficient way. So I know it up here. Snake is showing up, the writer says, to remind me to not run away from my pain, not run away from the painful process of shedding whatever life has presented, these painful opportunities in front of me, to allow me an opportunity to shed. It says, Snake is saying, turn around and move into it. Turn around and move into it. Snake unlocks her jaws and swallows life whole. Confronting pain is the only way to completely dissolve it. You heard that? Confronting pain. And as a therapist, we know this. Martha and I, we know this. Confronting pain, feeling pain, facing pain, moving through pain is the only way for it to dissolve. Snake teaches us that the basic function of pain is to teach us the true reality of life. That reality is a silent experience beyond words, and it is in this silence that healing occurs. Yeah, so that act of healing's got to come from us, from our own bodies. We've got to remember. And I'm finding that a way to remember is to connect with these five elements. A way for me to remember, I know I'm willing, so I have to now find processes like sound healing, mm, like hypnotherapy, like cacao ceremonies. Hmm? So there's a lot more with that write up, but I'm going to take that piece about facing pain, and looking beneath even emotional pain and physical pain, because a lot of the emotional pain of grief, for me anyway, it has kind of it's impacted my physical body. Like my son has to massage me, dig his elbows into parts of my back like almost every day, and I got to find a massage therapist like on a weekly basis to move the pain from my body because some of it is there. But this is encouraging, inviting me, you, we, us to, to face the pain, to feel it, to move through it, to find out what it's teaching us, Yeah, yeah. I'm taking it. I'm taking it in. And the body knows what to do. The body knows what to do. So we have to listen to the body too. Now, in Florida, the animal that spoke to me the most was the butterfly. I saw one alligator up the Everglades. A big man, a big man. But it was mostly butterflies. I was so moved by butterflies. I came back with all sorts of butterflies. Mm. I was buying all of. I left Fort Lauderdale with all of Fort Lauderdale's butterflies. But seriously though, that's because I was feeling the energy of the butterflies, of the butterfly. Um, I'm pulling up another write up about butterfly energy, butterfly spirit animal totem. The symbolism of the butterfly. What is the meaning of the butterfly? This animal totem, according to reginalis.com, is associated primarily with the symbolism of change and transformation. Like the snake, yeah? Yeah, like the snake. It's about powerful transformation, metamorphosis in your life and personality, moving through different life cycles, renewal, rebirth, the lightness of being, playfulness, so finding the kid in yourself again. Yeah. Elevation from earthly matters and tuning into emotional or spiritual. So life is hurting, back is hurting, heart is sad and feeling a lot of pain. And when the waves of grief come, yes, but still elevating from earthly matters and tuning into emotional or spiritual matters. And it's about the world of the soul. So essentially going higher. One of the reasons, again, that I feel so grateful for the sound healing training, because I've started practicing and it is really powerful. I mean, I played a sequence that I saw in a book. I got a book on that has some healing sequences in it, and it was for sadness and depression. And I played the sequence, just practicing, and yeah. So finding ways finding ways. This is for all of us, y'all. I share my experience because I'm you. You understand? That's why I share my experience. I am you on a different day with different people in my story, in my movie of my life. I'm you on a different day. So the reason I share these things is to potentially, again, intention is to help you realize that you're not weird or different or how come I'm feeling like this? The psychologist is feeling like this. The psychologist who has cacao is feeling like this. You know what I mean? Like, we're just human beings. We're just human beings. And each of us has our own, when they describe the snake, they talk about its own perfect, foundational plan, its essence. Each of us has our essence again, and our essence can get overwhelmed, overburdened, just wrapped up, going left, right, center with the stuff of life. And so we have work to do intentionally. We have so many distractions, but the earth really, I feel, needs us to do a lot of this elevation from the mundane. Like the earth needs us to do a lot of elevation from the mundane. And if it feels like it's foolishness, it's foolishness. Let it go. If it feels like this is a wasted time endeavor over here, like leave that alone and direct your energy to what elevates you and the people around you. Yeah. I feel as if for me, and again, I think the people who are meant to hear it will hear it. I feel like the butterfly and the snake their medicine is very much so for me. Yeah. About transforming and moving through and shedding and going higher than what is in front of me. Understanding that a lot of what we see in front of us, again, it's just a mirage. It's just it's fake. It's fake news. It's a fake story, and there is an essence. There's an essence in all of us, and going higher into the world of the soul. You got to be able to do both. Like you got to be able to go higher and be here now too. So it's a balancing, but that essence of us, I believe, knows how to do this. So we have to practice. You got to practice so that it becomes like, because the times we're living in call for us to be able to do this in and out. Part of my thinking about last year is about me individually having to understand how to shift these kinds of things real fast. Everybody has a different job on the earth to do. Mine is probably about, hey, you got to be able to hold a lot of ish and move anyway. And elevate, like go up anyway. Yeah, you have to feel, but you still have to go up. You have to do both. You have to do both, people. We have to do both. You got to walk between both worlds. Can't be up there forever, like, and you ain't paying your bills. Now you gotta do both. And your kids like falling down on the ground because you're not, feeding your child. You gotta do both. Yeah, we gotta do both. So, yeah. So that's what my travel therapy to Fort Lauderdale, like it triggered a lot of positive, deep, hopeful elevation. So Simone, thank you. You like them. You think they're beautiful. Martha, that's your card of the day. Was it a butterfly? Martha, Yeah, y'all. I got this butterfly because it reminds me of the butterflies of my childhood. Like we had tons of butterflies in the yard, and my brother and I would go chasing them, try to run after them, and they'd flitter away. That playfulness of a child. Shahira, you're sending me love. Thank you, my sister. Shay, thank you so much, my sister. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, so Snake is telling me, don't run from my pain. Stay. My childhood stress response de jour and of choice is to run and hide. Okay, to just run and hide. And we can run and hide like shutting down or isolating ourselves. That's my preferred mode of operating. But that's the child's way of operating. And my true essence, the me, yeah, that came into this space, this planet, knows what to do. Butterfly is reminding me, yo, sister, uh, go higher. Fly, find your joy, your playfulness, keep changing, stay flexible, bob and weave. Bob and weave, like you can't stay you can't stay flat footed. Can't stay flat footed. Yeah, face your struggles and your demons and the pains of your life, but stay like Muhammad Ali say, float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Yeah, you gotta float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Okay. Jackie, how are you? You love butterflies. You add them to your nails. They give you peace. Yes, 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 yes. Simone, you said both items are beautiful. The butterfly pink mug and the brown butterfly. Yeah, y'all. So I was feeling the butterflies in Fort Lauderdale. hmm So, yes, one of those days I'm going to invite you guys who travel for your reset, who travel to reconnect, to come join me and share your experiences with other people. Because again, it doesn't have to be you getting in a plane and going off somewhere, but you can, on purpose, incorporate the five elements into travel just outside of your house. If you have access to water, for us in Atlanta, we are landlocked, so we don't have the sea except if we're down in Savannah. But we have the Chattahoochee up there. I remember when I had newly moved to Atlanta, I would feel so desperate for water. I would run up to the Chattahoochee and just sit there for hours. But the five elements you want to intentionally connect with to help you get your footing again and to stay regulated, to stay balanced are fire, you can think of the sun, earth, sand, grass, metal, you can find metal, yeah. Get in your car, get on a plane. Water, the sea, the river, the little brook, pond, even a waterfall. If you can't get like natural water, and wood, trees. Okay. So I want to thank you all for showing up tonight. It is 8:05. Next time you get ready to buy a burger and fries, consider that the burger makers and the fries makers are sitting pretty on Port Everglades. And maybe you might want to think twice or reconsider, or I'm talking to myself here. But yeah, the most beautiful homes on that lake were from some of the people that we spend a lot of money buying things from that some people say allegedly are not the best for our health. So let me review my top 5 experiences, and I'm going to tell you good night and hope that you show up tomorrow to listen to me talk about a book of light, a book that changed my life. On Thursday, I'm talking to Dr. Janet Taylor, who's a chiropractor, a healer, and she uses sound healing. And she rode Maria out. I think she was alone with her dog in her house. And those of you who went through Maria, you know how traumatic that possibly was for her. So I can't wait to share her story with you as we have another healing conversation. Meanwhile, my top 5 of my travel therapy Fort Lauderdale. Being alone is not all bad. I miss being with Campy. Traveling with him was so fun because for the most part, like, he'd take care of every last detail. I just had to show up and look good. But being alone means I don't have to consult. I don't have to ask, do you want to go? What do you think about? I don't have to say, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I just want to sleep. None of that. I get up, I go when I want, how I want, all of that. Number 2, I'm very happy and grateful for the sound healing certification because I've just started practicing and I'm already myself experiencing the power of it. I saw the power of it demonstrated in the class. I'm encouraging you to use every possible way to heal yourself so that you can get to the essence of who you are and shed all these stories and traumatic events and the dramas and the thought forms that we create when it hurts so bad. Okay, quickly we're shedding because there's a lot coming. That's what it is. There's so much more coming that this is a valuable skill. You got to learn how to do that quickly. There's so much coming that you must learn how to move through pain fast and release the stories about pain. Like, you have to remember who you really are. You have to remember your true essence. So you're not just physical. You have to remember how to go up so that the pain doesn't weigh you down longer than it needs to. Yes, you watch it, you see it, you feel it, but you have to do both. You have to be able to do both fast. Okay, fast. Okay, number 3, I learned about the power of the cacao ceremony and realized we'd been essentially having our cacao metaphysical ceremonies every Sunday at home because growing up in Dominica where I grew up, cacao tea is a staple. And it's just, I can understand it because it's just I want to say a heavenly drink, like it's a divine drink. It's just awesome. Number 4 was my ride up Port Everglades, like beautiful. I'll share some of the homes that we saw going up there. Just wide open space on the water. Reminds me of Venice. It's really beautiful. And number 5, I believe maybe the secret to travel therapy for me is that it's a huge reset and rebalancing opportunity because when I travel, I get to access the 5 elements and the psychology of the 5 elements. I can talk about another time, but the 5 elements are water being, according to many people, the most important. Water, you got fire, think of the sun, earth, you know about earth, metal, and wood. Okay, so I hope you all have a nice Tuesday night. When I do this, hey, we got to practice, practice, practice now. Practice, practice, practice now. Living in both worlds. Practice, practice, practice now. Feeling the pain, not running away from the pain, but learning and knowing how to transcend the pain, like almost like instantaneously and at will and um, whenever we need to. Okay. All right. Peace, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. I'm Dr. Triffy.